Hello, everyone. My name is Katan. I'm the founder of BossBabeBlog.com, and today I'm going to be sharing 21 ways to develop a stronger entrepreneurial mindset. So, first, I want to go ahead and briefly put my website so you can know where to find me and know where to find my business if you ever have questions on the screen. It is BossBabeBlog.com. Check that out while I make sure that we are connected to Instagram. And we are also streaming on my Patreon account as well. So to all of the Patreon subscribers that find me through Patreon, I appreciate you and welcome to my Patreon page. Okay, so, or Patreon channel, should I say, page, channel, whichever. All right, now let's go ahead and get started. I talked a lot about this actually on my previous show, the Boss Babe Business Show, where I was sharing events, information that people might want to know. But now we're going to go ahead and move into the 21 ways to develop a stronger entrepreneurial mindset. Don't mind my little warmer that I'm using. I actually got it from a guest that was at one of my events. She was amazing. Shout out to Irina again. But yes, 21 ways to develop a stronger entrepreneur mindset. I said that like 5 billion times. Let's get to it. All right. So first thing is don't be a broken record. That's number one. Now, as an entrepreneur, there are going to be days when you feel down. There's going to be days when you're just not feeling excited, motivated, whatever word you want to use that people romanticize. But you're going to have those days. And in the moments where you have those days, it's very important that you do not become a broken record. Because if you're consistently repeating the things that are not going right, you're going to have a hard time being able to see the things that are going that aren't going, wrong. Like we got to be able to acknowledge the positive too. But a lot of times I see entrepreneurs that will be focused on what's not going right for them. And they'll consistently be repeating it. Oh, nobody supports me. Oh, I can't. It's so hard to find good help. And oh, it's this. And yes, we do have our days where we just need to be human and release. And that's okay. We all have a safe space. We all have a venting space. That's totally fine. But it's very important not to become a broken record. So everywhere you go, you're always repeating that nobody supports you. It's hard to find good help. You can't do this. Find your safe space so that you don't have to do that all the time. That's number one, because it does become a bit exhausting. Number two, ways to develop a stronger mindset. You want to stop talking about non-supporters. Stop talking about the people who don't contribute to you in a positive light. Stop talking about people who don't bring productivity to your life, because it is quite literally a waste of your breath and time. So if they're not bringing you something positive and productive, let it go. It is not worth talking about it. Don't even acknowledge it. I know it's hard because the human in us will want to talk about these things. But what I realize is all the time that I'm spending talking about people who weren't supporting me, I was missing out on finding people who really did support me and genuinely loved what I was doing. And on top of that, that energy can be poured back into people who already do love and support you. And I'm not saying that you might have a whole crowd or a whole tribe, but you probably got at least one person who's focused on supporting you and loves what you're doing. Focus in on those people, whether it's a follower, whether it's a like, whether it's a commenter, whether it's a subscriber, whatever it is, but you want to tune into the people who truly appreciate you and care about you and find better ways to connect with them over focusing on people who do not support and care about you, because it's a waste of time. So you want a stronger mindset? Start to imagine that the people who don't support are not even there. I have gotten so good at it that I literally forget people are there until they remind me by saying something. And even then, I forget shortly after. If it's not something positive and productive, it's not staying in my brain for too long. And that's just me. So that's my tip. Now, the next thing is pay attention to the energy that you invite. Now, I have to be very careful about how I word this, because I see that we're in a day and age where, in my opinion, I'm observing that we are experiencing a lot of people who like to blame the victim instead of holding the predator or holding the bully or the aggravator or assaulter accountable. And I'm just never going to be that person. Some people are just simply not going to be good company or good people or good support or have good intentions, because they are just not integrity-based people. And it doesn't matter who you put in front of them. You could be someone with boundaries and self-respect and confidence, and they will still not be a good person. And you can be someone with insecurities, and they will still not be a good person. So there's nothing that you could do or not do that's going to change the integrity of that person, because that's just who they are. And we got to start holding people accountable to their integrity, not necessarily to how they take advantage of somebody or how somebody quote unquote allow them to take advantage of them. We got to just hold people accountable to their integrity. I'm always going to be that person. However, in the same sense, there are moments where you have to pay attention to what you invite into your space, what conversations you invite into your space, what kind of energy you invite into your space, what kind of productivity you allow in your space. So when you start to feel like things are not aligning with you, don't feel afraid to get up and just leave. Don't feel afraid to say this doesn't work for me. Don't feel afraid to say we got to find something new, or we got to go back to the drawing board. Whatever it is that you got to do, don't feel afraid to do it. Because at the end of the day, you got to pay attention to what you are welcoming in and what you are not welcoming in. So when you see that something does not align with you, let it go and move on to something different. That's just where we're at when it comes to that. Now let's move on to the next one. Hello. Thanks for joining, Jose. I appreciate you. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining. Let me know where you're joining from. Everybody, feel free to drop in the comments what state you're watching from and what platform you're watching on, because we got about 4 platforms that we're streaming on today. All right. The next tip: stop complaining about things you can't fix. So I see this oftentimes as entrepreneurs. We will beat ourselves up about what we can't fix, things that you simply cannot change. There's no purpose in continuing a dialogue about stuff that you cannot change. But we will continuously say, oh, but I just can't seem to get this right. It's broken. I can't believe it's broken. I can't believe it's broken. You say that like 5 times. And all the time that you're spending saying that this is broken, you could have been focused on either getting it fixed or finding something else that's going to work for you. So don't keep complaining about stuff that you can't change, because it doesn't change anything. It doesn't help anything. And that was something that I had to work on within myself. So when I saw things watching from your phone, okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. Again, happy Thursday. We're just sharing some entrepreneurship tips for anyone that needs them out there. But like I was saying, there's going to be things that you're just not going to have any control over. So if you're going to stress about something, you shouldn't stress about anything. But if you're going to stress, let it be something, focus on something that you're able to control and that you intend on changing, versus something that you have absolutely no control over and it doesn't change. This was something I worked on within myself, because I saw myself becoming very frustrated and very angry, and almost to the point where I felt like I was going to be bitter with people. And I had to just acknowledge, hey, what I'm angry about, I can't change this. There's nothing I can do about this. So for me to sit and continue to ruminate on that, it's a waste of my time. I'm going to focus on what I can change, and I'm going to fix that. Because what I won't do is sit and be uncomfortable in a situation that I could have changed or that I could have worked on. So, sorry, I'm going from camera to camera, guys, because I'm streaming on more than one platform. So hi Patreon, hi YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, all of those platforms. You guys are awesome. All right. Number 5, be the catalyst, not the watcher. So I talked about this earlier on the show. Be the catalyst. If you are an entrepreneur, you have to be the catalyst. That means that you are the reason why. You're the reason, not other people. You're not looking to other people to decide if you're going to show up with the energy that you need as an entrepreneur. When you walk into a room, you're not scouting out the energy to see how you feel today. You're going to come in with the best energy, the best attitude, the best effort. You're going to do that because that's your integrity as an entrepreneur and as a person. That's something that we have to practice. Every room that we step into, everything that we do, we need to practice showing up at 1,000% as much as we can, regardless of who's going to be there and regardless of who's watching. Because if you're focused on who's going to be there and who's watching to determine on how you're going to show up, it means that you don't have your own identity and personality. And I'm sure you do, but you're not operating from it. You're operating from a place of, I want to watch everybody else. So it's very important that when it comes to setting the tone, you are going to set the tone regardless of any room that you're in, and you're not worried about what other people are doing. I've walked into rooms networking rooms where people have said, ooh, it's kind of dead in here, or there's nobody here. Well, that's your mentality, and that's where your head is at. You're focused on how many people are in here. You need to be focused on how many people you can share your solution with and how many ways you can get across to them that you are the right person for the job, or you're the right person for the job for someone that they know that needs that job. But wasted time on what other people are doing, who's going to be there, how many people are coming, how popular is she or he, who's watching, that's a waste of your time. Everything that you step into should be with the best energy and effort, and it should always be focused on coming to show people how you are the solution. So if you want to have a stronger entrepreneurial mindset, stop being the watcher and start being the catalyst. If things feel dry, then it's time for you to shake it up. If it feels like things are slow, then it's time for you to speed it up. But entrepreneur quite literally means being a problem solver. So if you're not someone that's here to be a problem solver, then you're not in the right place. And that's what you have to remember when it comes to entrepreneurship. Yes, we can talk about entrepreneurship if you like, or just, share what you're feeling, share your thoughts on these topics. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay, so the next one is number 6, and that is get around people who don't make excuses. So if you're somewhere in your life where you're trying to achieve or grow, make sure you get around people who do not make excuses. You don't want to be that person that's always having an excuse for why you're not able to achieve. And I think that it's really important that we hold ourselves accountable to who we spend our time with. If you know that this is a person who they're always working hard, they're always going, it doesn't mean they're perfect. It doesn't mean they don't have days. But if you see that they're a hardworking person, you need to get around those kind of people. And I'm not saying get around them to juice them and use them for all they've got. I'm saying get around them to immerse yourself in their attitude and their culture and their experience. So if they have a business, you need to be volunteering to support or help that business. If they have products, you need to be purchasing or trying out those products or services. If they have events, you need to be attending those events. These are the type of things that you need to be doing with people who do not make excuses and make things happen. Because what you're going to notice is a drive that is priceless. And that kind of a drive is contagious, just like the drive of driving yourself downward with excuses can be contagious. Also, driving yourself upward can be contagious as well. Oh, hold on, guys. I need some water. Ooh, I don't have too much left. Okay. Next thing is number 7. Stop comparing yourself to others. In friendships, in business, in relationships, comparison is the thief of joy. We know this, but also I like to remind people that there are productive comparisons and non-productive comparisons. So when you are comparing yourself in a light to say that, oh, this person's doing that, so I should be doing that, that is non-productive comparisons. If you're comparing results, for example, maybe, oh, this person had a team that was wearing all black polos and they made $10,000 in sales. Let me try a team that's wearing all black polos and see what sales I make if I'm in the same industry. Some comparisons can be productive. Looking at analytics can be productive, but comparing your every move to the next business owner, it's not productive. Don't worry about what the next person's prices are. Do research on the market value for what it is that you're offering, and then decide on how you're going to make the experience unique so that whatever price that you charge, people will purchase it because of the unique experience. But you got to really focus on yourself. What is the value that you bring? Because what happens is we focus so much on other people, we end up accidentally promoting them. So I've seen times where entrepreneurs get online and start talking about another entrepreneur in the same industry. But what they fail to realize is that what you're doing is you're advertising this entrepreneur. And so other people will see your post and they're not looking at you as a solution. They're looking to see what she's about first. Then they're going to come back to you maybe, or they'll go and actually shop with her because they're curious now. Focus on yourself. Promote your own business. Don't compare yourself to others. All right. Next one, number 8, get on camera. If you're someone that's camera shy, I understand. But you got to put yourself out there. Get on camera. Step in front of a new audience. Listen, do you have to be on camera to make money on a business? No, you do not have to be on camera. But would I say if there's a comfort zone that you're just sitting in, it's time to sometimes step out of it? Absolutely. And that's why it's important that you don't stay in that box. Okay. Number 9, show up for training, class, consultations, whatever it is that you have committed for studying and education and growth, show up. I have seen so many entrepreneurs talk about how they're not seeing growth, they're not seeing sales. And then when I ask them how consistent they are with showing up to trainings and consultations and, meetings that are supposed to help them with their development, they're usually telling me I'm not as consistent. I struggle with that consistency. Well, that's where you're going to build your momentum, and that's where you're going to truly start to see solutions coming from your business when you create that consistency. So when you invest in classes, courses, consults, show up for your meetings, because this is a part of creating that momentum, and you want to see that growth. So if you want to see that growth, let's start taking accountability for how we show up and how consistently we show up. All right. Moving on to the next one. Execute what you learn quick. So listen, our brains, they used to say, like, when you're a kid, your brain is like a sponge, right? And our brains are still somewhat a little spongy. They might not be as spongy as they were as kids, but they take that information, they absorb it. And if you don't automatically use it, you might lose it. It might just be lost and, released with all the rest of the information. So when you get information on how to try something out that's new for your business, execute as quickly as possible. Don't wait too long. The longer that you wait to execute, the longer you're putting out that time for you to procrastinate and come up with reasons for why you won't be able to achieve it, or why it won't work, or why you can't do X, Y, and Z. We don't want to get to that stage. We don't want to get to that stage at all. We want to be at the stage where we are promoting our business consistently, and we're talking about, all the wins that we're doing. We want to talk about all the ways we were able to overcome. We want to talk about all the things we learned and how we executed those things. You don't want to be that person that hears the information but doesn't actually move on it. I had so many clients come to me and say, if I just took the information that you gave me and did it when you told me to do it, I would have seen so much more sales, or I would have seen so much more growth in my business faster. I didn't do it in the moment because I didn't realize how important it was, or I didn't see it in the moment, or I just wasn't really focused on it. I thought I'd come back to it later, but now doing it, I'm realizing how much more I could have gained had I just done it quicker. So when you get this information on ways to elevate and perfect your craft, take advantage of it and use that information. All right. Let's take a brief pause because I do want to shout out one of our sponsors. So I'm going to put that ad of our sponsor on the screen. And in the meantime, I'm going to go and share this live on other platforms. And if you would like to become a sponsor, here's a link to do so. So I'll give it just a moment, and then I'll also do a video of one of our sponsors, Hootstop.com.
Hoot hoot, welcome to Hootstop.com, where wellness meets design. Shop our services today for your home, office, or studio needs, as we can create anything that you envision. Hit our custom consultation and schedule an appointment today, or fill out the ad form and we'll get that started for you immediately. If you're looking for design, it's what we do here at Hootstop.com. Come and visit us. We'll see you soon. But if you can't wait, subscribe to our YouTube channel and see the artwork being made from scratch, behind the sketchbook scenes. Talk directly with me, the artist, then we do it digital, and then you already know it's getting printed on something. So start at the beginning and work your way to Hootstop.com. From YouTube to Hootstop. We got you.
Okay, thank you so much, Hootstop.com, for sponsoring our shows. We really appreciate you. This isn't the Boss Babe Business Show, but I just wanted to shout out another sponsor and share this live for people to be a part of the conversation. So the next tip that we have on 21 ways to develop a stronger entrepreneurial mindset is number 10. Execute what you learn quickly. Don't wait too long. Skip the procrastination phase because it takes way longer. And then you go back and realize, had I already started this, I would have seen more productivity. Now, the next thing is 11. Follow through with commitments. So I can't tell you how many times that I've come across entrepreneurs that did not follow through with their commitments intentionally and sometimes unintentionally. And, we always have moments where we can grow and moments for opportunity. So when someone brings something to our attention, take it and come back and follow through with that. However, I've seen moments where I brought something to someone's attention and they just didn't follow through, whether it was because they felt like it wasn't worth it to follow through, whether it because they felt like it wasn't important to do it with me and they would just, erase that and then continue on. But not following through for your clients or for your partners or whatever it is that you have planned, it can really affect your business in a negative light. So you want to make sure that number one, you're doing your best to follow through with your commitments. But number two, if anything is brought to your attention, go ahead and step forward and commit to making it happen. Find a solution. Even if there was a problem for why you couldn't do it, find a solution around it. That's really important. The more you start to do that, the more you follow through on your commitments, the more you're going to trust yourself more. You're going to build a bigger mindset, a stronger mindset as an entrepreneur. And you're going to be empowered to do things for your business because you trust yourself, because you know that when you say you're going to do something, you're going to make yourself follow through. And that's really important. The next thing is stop leading with aggression. I've seen so many entrepreneurs that lead with aggression. And when you lead with aggression to try to get somebody to buy into your products, your services, your partnerships, it tends to strike people as insecurity, or it tends to strike them as mystery behind your intentions on why you're so aggressive. So when you have a product or service or skill, it's okay to talk about it. There is passive versus aggressive selling, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being aggressive when someone tells you no, or when people are not interested, or simply when something is not for you, leading with aggression. Instead of leading with aggression, lead with understanding. Because as an entrepreneur, our goal is to provide solutions. You can't provide a solution if you don't understand the core issue or the root of the problem. And you can't truly understand the root if you don't ask, instead of just being aggressive and making someone feel bad for not wanting the product or the service or understanding it completely. So lead from a place of listening, because that's going to help you determine if it's even worth your time to continue promoting this product or solution, or if it's better to transition to something different, or just to completely let it go because maybe this is not the ideal lead for you. But when we practice leading with listening instead of leading with aggression, you're going to see a lot more come out of that. The next thing is stop caring about being alone. When you stop caring about being alone as an entrepreneur, you're going to start to see a lot of doors opening, because you're the one opening the doors, because you realize the power that you possess on your own. You don't need someone to open a door for you. Now, there are a lot of wonderful opportunities out there that you can claim, take advantage of, appreciate, but the opportunity doesn't make you. Your integrity behind how you move through that opportunity is what makes you. So we want to always be elevating that, and understanding that it's okay to be alone is extremely important on your entrepreneurship journey. And I say that because there's so many times where people will prey on the fact that they know you don't want to be alone, or you're scared of standing on your own. But when you're an individual that has your own mind and you're not moving from a place of fear, you cannot be controlled. Fear is a way that people are able to control. And when they know that you're fearful of being alone, that's how sometimes people take advantage of you, and get over on you in business to business industry as entrepreneurs, but also just in general in life. So you can't be afraid of being alone. You have to understand that being alone is an opportunity to invest into your thoughts and the time that you spend working on your vision and refining your craft. So there you have it. The next thing is stop pouting. When you have, I don't know if you've raised kids, then you know this, but if you haven't raised kids, then you may not know it. But you always have that kid that, instead of them just asking for directly for what it is they need, they just pout. They pout and they hope that you're going to say, hey, do you want this? Do you need this? Not the ones that can't talk, the ones that are able and capable of talking. And I talked about this in my other live, because I've watched a lot of kids in my lifetime. And there was one child that I remember where, instead of her asking for what it was, she would do this thing where she wanted to manipulate the conversation. So she would just pout. And if, for example, if I'm holding a sucker, she'll stand there and she'll say, oh, I just wish I had a sucker. I just wish I had a sucker. And she'll keep repeating it over and over again until she gets someone to say, hey, do you want mine? Do you want this? But she's not speaking directly to you. And I wanted to practice with her direct communication, not pouting, not having an attitude, and not walking around defeated with a chip on your shoulder. So I simply just started ignoring the pouts until I got a direct, can I please have that sucker that you have? Or can I please have that candy that you have? And then I was able to acknowledge and help her. Now, obviously, entrepreneurship's a little different. Where am I getting at with this? Sometimes we have those moments where we're just not feeling good and we just want to rant or vent or get it out off our chest. And we should very well be able to do that, because we're human. You deserve to have that place where you can be in your emotions, because your emotions are validated. But it's important that you find a safe space to do that, and don't make every room that you walk into a place for you to unload the chips that are on your shoulder. Because what will happen is, people who are supposed to be your target audience or your potential customers will end up looking at you like they want to support you out of pity, versus out of you being a specialist and knowing what you're talking about and having your own brand pride and identity. And those are two different kind of purchases. We're not looking for the pity purchase. We're looking for the purchase where the consumer truly understands that you are the solution for them. And they can't get that if you're so focused on the chips on your shoulder. So creating a safe space and finding that safe space of entrepreneurs, place that you can just vent, release, and let out, so that when you go out into the field to talk about your products and your services and your solutions, you don't get distracted from the mission, and you don't get distracted from the focus, which is to provide a solution to the person in front of you and show them how you can help their life be better. All right. The next one, number 15, take accountability for your drive. So this is a two-part tip. Take accountability for your drive simply means be honest with yourself about what you really want. because I've seen a lot of people, and maybe at one point I was one of those people, and it took me being able to see it from someone else to say, hey, maybe that's me. Maybe I didn't really want this, or maybe I don't really want that. But I've had moments where I said, I don't really like this. I don't think I want this. You have to be honest with yourself. Give yourself permission to say that you don't want something. Give yourself permission to say that you've changed your mind. Give yourself permission to grow and to morph into something different. Because if you stay stuck on trying to follow through with something simply because that's what you quote unquote should do, or simply because you don't want to look silly, you're going to miss out on your growth, your own growth. Because when you don't want something, it shows in your body language, it shows in your actions, it shows in your attitude, the words that come out of your mouth. When you don't want it, you just don't want it. And I have met a lot of people in life and in entrepreneurship that just don't want it. And they don't want to say they don't want it. They want the idea of it. They want the results of it. But do they really want it? No, they don't. And that's totally okay. But you have to take accountability for your drive. Because when you take accountability for your own drive, you get to be honest with yourself and tell yourself what you really want. And if you're really taking accountability for your drive, you're saying, hey, I could have showed up to that meeting and introduced myself and showed off my business. I don't think I want this as bad as I said I did. I wonder why. Is it because I'm not really believing what I'm saying? Is it because I don't feel passionate right now? Is it because I'm burnt out? Am I tired? But when you open up the dialogue for self-awareness and taking accountability for your own drive, you're able to be honest with yourself so that you can have that true development. The issue that I see sometimes in entrepreneurship is a lot of people pointing fingers at outside factors that have nothing to do with internal issues that can be stopping you from seeing the sales, the growth, the productivity, and the community that you want in your business journey. So take accountability for your drive. The next one, number 16, get a notebook. Now, that probably sounds, what's the word, cliche or whatever you want to call it, but it's not. Some people don't keep track of that stuff. You need to have a notebook, a vision board, whatever it is, but you need to have all your notes, what you're trying to achieve, your goals, write these things down, your ideas, have a checklist. Even if you're not someone that's big on like journaling, just have a list of all the things that you need to achieve and scratch off that list as you go. So as you see, here's one of mine. I have so many. This notebook is actually from hootstop.com. Shout out Hootstop. They're one of our sponsors that I just showed on the show earlier. Has my Boss Babe blog logo on it. But get you a notebook and start taking notes of your dreams and your goals and be more intentional about writing them down and about saying them out loud. The next thing, number 17, 90-10 intake rule. So it can be 90-10, it can be 80-10, but you need to have an intake rule of how much content you're willing to consume that is non-productive or like, just for fun. There's nothing wrong with just for fun, because sometimes that's where my creativity like skyrockets. So there's moments where I'll be watching a cartoon and I start to have business ideas and I start writing. That's how my creative process is. So that's still in a sense a little bit productive. I just know my brain sometimes needs a break and needs to release in order for me to come back with great business ideas. So understand that about yourself and give yourself grace, but at the same time, try to manage how much content you're taking in that is not productive or does not do something for you in a productive light. Because if you're always consuming content that is not positive and doesn't help you with getting anywhere, doesn't teach you any skills, doesn't align with your core values, you're not feeding your brain the information that you need to. Your brain is almost like a computer in a sense, and you're not giving it the information that it needs. So that's just kind of, unless you're wanting a different kind of algorithm. Now, if you're wanting that positive, productive, I can do this, I can fix this, I can take over the world type of mindset, then we have to be very mindful of the content that we're putting in our bodies. I mean, the food we're putting in our bodies, the things we're putting in our minds, the content we're watching, got to be mindful of those things. Okay, so the next thing is release other people's drives. So this goes back to number 15. You can go to the replay if you missed number 15. But I talked about taking accountability for your drive. This one is releasing accountability for other people's drives. This is a huge mindset tip because sometimes we are carrying a heavy, heavy load that does not have to be that heavy. It is a self-inflicted heavy load or self-inflicted heavier load because you probably already had your own load, but you're carrying something that is self-inflicted. And it didn't have to be there because you are trying to take accountability for other people's choices and other people's drive. And this kind of goes into business and friendship and any other area of your life. But you might want to influence people and support them, but you are not in control of someone else's body, their decisions, their mind, their environments that they put themselves in. You're not in control of those things. And sometimes I see entrepreneurs working a little too hard for someone else's business and dreams, and they're not actually working for their own dreams. And I have been that person because I want to see people succeed. I want to see people grow. But like I said in my other video, if me and my friend or me and my business peer are pulling this sleigh together and it's heavy, and then all of a sudden my back just starts to feel even heavier, and I look up and I see her sipping on some juice inside of the sleigh, it's time to get out there. We got to scram. So, we talked about this, fireworks and all. Yeah, we got to get up out of there. So when you are finding yourself wanting to take accountability for other people's drives is a moment where you need to step back and reanalyze the relationship, because that is an unhealthy thing to do. And I think that with culture and with the way people were raised, depending on what culture you're in, how you were raised, what you were taught growing up, the relationships you were made to form, you might think that that's normal. You might even be proud of that and say, oh, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have done this. Or if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have did this. But that's not really a badge that I want to wear. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to wear the badge of, if I didn't get up and do your work for you and do my work, then you wouldn't have succeeded. That's not something that I want to wear, because it's exhausting. It's not because it's, something to be proud or not proud of. It's extremely exhausting. You have enough things that you have to take on as an entrepreneur. So yes, you can encourage people, but you are, like I said in the other video, it's okay to be of assistance, but please make sure that people understand that you are not their assistant, because there's a difference between being of assistance versus being someone's assistant. And sometimes people start to get comfortable with the fact that you are taking accountability for their drive and for their goals and trying to push them in areas where they're not trying to push themselves. And that can deter you from having success in your own business, because it is not only draining, but it is time consuming. And time is something that we can never get back. So I'm not saying dwell on the time that's been wasted, but moving forward, remember, every second of your day is unpromised. We don't know when our first or last day is going to be on this earth. And for that reason, we don't need to be spending it draining ourselves down to the very last drop for individuals who are not even draining for themselves. So that is like a huge one that I'm extremely passionate about. And if you're wondering why I'm so passionate about this, I talked about this at my event in Plano, Texas, Soft Girl Sunday, where I was talking about a woman who was extremely hardworking, loving, and unfortunately had a medical issue and passed, and was not able to attend the event with us, was not able to continue life with us. And I knew this individual, and she was a beautiful woman. She was kind, full of energy. But the question that I had to keep asking myself when she passed was, is it something that could have been prevented? And that question kept playing in my head. Could it have been prevented had she been focused more on her own health and her own betterment? Would she still be here? And the sad part about those kind of things is you can never get an answer to those questions, at least not from the person that you're talking about. No day is promised. Don't spend another second pulling somebody up out of a hole that they keep jumping back into. That is a big hack. And if you don't get that down early in entrepreneurship, in friendship, in family, you're going to have a hard time getting to the place that you want to be, because you're going to find yourself pulling and going slower and slower because you keep adding on other people's accountability and responsibility and drives to your basket of responsibilities, when in reality, that has nothing to do with you. You are your own person. Take accountability for your own drive, and then release the need or the urge or the want to take accountability for other people's drives. All right, moving on to the next one. Reframing, the power of reframing, number 19. So the 19th way to develop a stronger entrepreneur mindset is to practice the power of reframing. You will have those days where you just want to vent, where you just want to cry, where you just want to let it all out. I understand that. But practicing reframing is such a powerful thing, because instead of saying, when you go into, let's say you go into a networking event and you're hosting it and there's like 3 people, right? Instead of going in there and saying, oh, I only had 3 people at this event. Go in with the mindset of, I have 3 people that I have the opportunity of sharing my solution with, and I'm going to do that to the best of my ability with every single one of them. Go into it with the mindset of, I get an opportunity to practice sharing my mission and my solution with other people. If you have a falling out with someone in business, or maybe not even a falling out, but maybe an opportunity didn't work out for you, reframe it. This opportunity didn't work for me, but it gave me an opportunity to reflect on what I need in a partnership or what I'm looking for in a client. Learn from that, grow from that. Reframing is a powerful thing. I've done it in my business, I've done it in my personal life, and it helps you to have a stronger mindset. I'm not saying that you're going to be perfect, because nobody's perfect, but you practice reframing your verbiage and your mindset, and you will start to see a change in your actions and your mental. So, the power of reframing, you got to practice that. I want to give a reframing example. I did give one. Let me see if I can think of another one off the top of my head that I've done that I can share without, releasing information that I don't want to release about anybody. Um, hmm. Oh, okay, perfect one. So as your business starts to grow, you will start to receive a lot of inquiries. You're going to receive a lot of people asking questions. And then as your clientele starts to grow, the same thing is going to occur. And at one point in time, I used to say, oh my goodness, like the things that people are loading onto me, because I would have sessions with certain people, and they would be telling me all kinds of stuff. And by the end of the session, I was emotionally drained. Like, I was learning about people's lives, and I just felt like, oh my goodness, like part of me felt like, I'm being, this information or this emotions are being dumped on me, and we're not actually getting to the business part of the session. And it makes me feel as if maybe you are, or the person, or it was taken advantage or taken for granted that I'm here to consult you, and now you're expecting a therapist and a business coach all in one session, when I was here to provide a business session. I wasn't prepared. And, when I experienced this, I had to reframe my mindset. And I said, wait a minute, hold on here. You have something in you, there's a gift in you that makes people feel comfortable enough to release personal, deep parts of their life, their trauma, and things that they're experiencing without you even asking them to. They feel safe enough to do that. There's something there, because it didn't just happen in business. And when I sat down and I reflected on that, I said, it's happened in friendship. It's happened with people that I was just meeting for the first time, and they've shared with me everything, or people that, I've known for a little while, but not long enough, in my opinion, for them to feel comfortable to share certain things. And they still shared it with me. So there's a gift that I have where I make people feel comfortable enough to know that if they release whatever it is they're going through, they're going to be in a safe space. They're going to be in good hands. So once I realized that, I had to ask myself, what do I need to do to better prepare myself emotionally, mentally, and business wise, so that I can deliver a great service and still show people that I can be that solution. I started taking courses on counseling and therapy, and understanding how to be a better listener, and to understand that just because a person is releasing something doesn't necessarily mean that they're expecting me to either A, give advice, or B, completely just start acting on it, right? And once I understood that, I developed a whole different service where my clients can decide on if they wanted to have a business session or an emotional session. And what that does for me is it prepares me so that when we're coming to the session, we're going to sit down and I'm going to support you emotionally and be there to listen, or be there to provide, just human to human advice, because I'm not a licensed therapist. So I can only tell you, hey, maybe try going here, or recommend you this. But I'm not a licensed therapist, but I still wanted to take the counseling certification, the therapy certifications, to better understand how to listen better and not be so much of a projector of my own thoughts and assumptions, like projecting the assumption that they're expecting me to do something about what they're coming to release to me, or they're expecting me to feel like it's my responsibility to carry that weight, because they're not. Sometimes they're simply just releasing what the burdens are of the day, and they've had a long week and they're feeling emotional, and I'm the person that they chose to do that with because they felt safe enough to do that with them. And that was one very powerful way that I reframed my mindset. And not only did it help me to develop a new service for my clients, but it also helped me to create that much stronger of a relationship with my clients. When I truly started to understand the intentions behind certain conversations or them coming and talking about different things. Like it just changed it opened up the door to so many possibilities because I understood more. And that's what reframing does for you. So I hope that that was a good example. I may not have worded it perfectly, but I wanted to give an example of how reframing can be very powerful and change your perspective, your experience, and your relationships. Because oftentimes, where our mind wants to assume something, when you just take the time to reflect and reframe, you give the opportunity for it to be something that you didn't expect it to be, that could be positive. And then when it actually turns out to be that, you sit back and you're happy that you gave it a chance to be something positive. So instead of me looking at it as, you know, trauma dumping or, people expecting more from me because they weren't. I just think that because I wanted to give them a great service, I felt like, well, if we don't get this session done productively, this person's going to be upset and they're going to be feeling like they didn't get their business stuff done. But we're over here talking about personal stuff and I don't want that to be a problem. But in reality, when I reframed my mindset and I just observed more and listened, I realized that that wasn't even a thought process in their minds. And not only did they understand, some of them were like, okay, I'm going to have to buy another session because, we talked about this today and I know we weren't prepared to do this. Or I'm going to go book another session. And that's what reframing does for you. It opens up the possibilities. All right. Number 20, practice gratitude. Boy, boy, boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. This one right here is a banger. So, practicing gratitude, oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how many wonderful individuals who have differentiated themselves from their competition, from people around them, simply by the gratitude, the appreciation, the acknowledgement. We are humans at the end of the day. And when you practice gratitude with people, you will notice a lot more chances that they're going to want to come back and support and follow up and send people your way. But when you practice a sense of entitlement or you operate from a place of scarcity, you're going to decrease the chances that a person is going to want to come back and shop with you and support you. So it's really important that, when you get around people, don't automatically assume that you're entitled to anything. Show up with gratitude, show up with a great energy, show up with productivity, show up with a heart of service. How can I be of service? How can I help? How can I pour into you? Because you just never know how people might be wanting or willing or able to pour back into you down the line. So instead of coming in with the sense of, I'm entitled to this and I expect this, come in with a sense of knowing that no one has to do anything for you. And if they do, it is simply either A, out of the goodness of their heart or out of their own free will to do so. And practice that gratitude, because when you do that, you're going to see the relationships thrive. I've I've seen relationships with individuals where they just kind of expected things. They expected that someone was going to promote them. They expected that they're going to receive services. They expected that they're going to get information and insight on certain stuff. There was never a thank you so much for this resource or thank you for your time or any of that. It's just like you expected. You put your hand out, me, mine, give me. And that can only work for so long before people start to really just be exhausted with that. Gratitude goes a long way. And I've even talked about this on my other shows, but something might be free to you. That doesn't mean that it was free to the person who gave it to you. And the more we remember that, the easier it is to practice gratitude, because this might be a free marker that was given to you, but I could have paid $30 for that marker at one point in time, and I decided I'm going to gift it to you. So when you get the marker, you don't snatch it and say, okay, well, how does it work or how does it write? You say, thank you so much. I know you didn't have to give this to me. I appreciate you. And even if that marker was 5 pennies, it's still something that I paid for. I took the time to go and buy and search for, that I'm gifting to you. So practicing that gratitude, because just because it looks like it's free or looks easy does not mean it's easy. We don't know what people go through behind the scenes. We don't know how hard they work to give something to somebody. And that gratitude just goes a long way. That is where you start off with having a mindset of abundance over scarcity when you practice gratitude and you let go of scarcity and entitlement in entrepreneurship. All right. The last but never least, number 21, the 21st way, I don't know if I said that right, to develop a stronger mental entrepreneur or entrepreneurial mindset. So visualize your goals. Write down your goals, take pictures, create a vision board, make a video, but have your goals somewhere visual. It doesn't have to be on your walls, but start to draw out what your life is going to look like. That is number 21 on 21 ways to develop a stronger entrepreneurial mindset. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this live, and I hope that at least one of these tips has brought some inspiration or food for thought for you. I know you're probably wondering, is she done for the night? And I am not. I have one more live to do where I'm going to be sharing 27 communities that you can join to network, connect, mingle, and socialize. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, but all of them are going to be great quality that you can join and get in where you fit in and have some fun. Thank you all so much for watching this live, and I will be back shortly in about 5 to 10 minutes. Bye-bye.